What awful, hilarious dating mistakes did you make in your early mid-teens? I told my mother about my first kiss after she picked me up. It was just a peck. She flipped the fuck out and called the girl's parents and chewed them out for raising a slut. Needless to say, she never talked to me again. My date never talked to me again. My mother unfortunately did. Here's two stories. I had been dating a girl for a few months in high school. She was 15 and I was 17. On my 18th birthday, I picked her up and we went to a baseball field, parked, and just talked for a while. Nothing crazy was going to happen. We were just talking. Right behind me, I see the flashing blue lights and I'm told to put my hands out the window. Then instructed to walk in reverse towards the officer's voice. He asked what we were doing. I told him. He didn't believe me. As soon as he found out I was 18 and she was 15, he decided I was a pedophile. He made me call up her parents. We borrowed their cell phone, thankfully 15 years ago, and her dad explained the situation to the cop. He still didn't believe me, so he made me drive her home while he followed. When I dropped her off, he even waited behind my car to make sure I wasn't raping her or something. Her dad invited me in, but I felt so sketched out that I just went home. Cop followed me the whole way. Second story. Went to one girl's homecoming with her. Driving home, she put her hand on my thigh right on top of my dick. Instant raging, 1000% engorged size boner. I swerved like a maniac and almost crashed. I squirmed so her hand would move. Like a playa, you know. Then when driving down a side street, she started kissing my neck really passionately. I asked her, and I remember this so vividly, "Are you trying to make me fucking crash?" And she responded no. She wanted me to pull over. I didn't. I took her home and said goodnight. God, what a moron. A fly kept bugging her. She was like, "Ugh, damn flies, so annoying." And then I said, "Well, you know, flies, they like to hang around shit. Yeah." On my first date, I went to the movies with this girl, and I thought it was going great. We laughed and joked about the movie and stuff. After the movie had ended is when everything went wrong. See, I had never been in this situation before, so I really didn't know what to do after the movie was over. I could have asked if she enjoyed the movie or tell her we should do something like this again, but no. I decided the best course of action was to walk out the movie theater and say nothing at all. The worst part was that she even said bye to me as I was walking out the door. This was a second chance. I could fix everything if I just turned around and said anything. Dumb old me turned and said, "Yay, see ya," and kept on walking right out the door. This still keeps me up at night. It's okay, man. One time during class, I was hanging out with a group of my friends, and one of the girls in that group was a girl I had a pretty big crush on. I looked at her, and I was like, "Hey, go out with me," fully expecting to get rejected. To my surprise, she was like, "Okay, now here's the problem." I was prepared to be rejected, so I had no preparation for if she actually said yes to my proposal. I ended up laughing nervously and stammering out, ha ha. Just kidding, haha. This moment keeps me up at night. I was an innocent, inexperienced, awkward young man. I finally dated a girl my senior year of high school who was considerably more experienced. She was well endowed. I was always careful not to make too bold of a move. Towards the end of our short relationship, we were sitting on the floor in my room kissing, and she gently pushed me back on the floor, straddling me on her knees, and had her tits right in my face, still clothed. Mind you, it was impossible not to glance down at them, which she noticed and said, "You can touch them if you want." Super Smooth Me reached up under her shirt, grabbed one in each hand, and let out a childish woo as I tuned in Tokyo. I don't exactly remember what happened next, except I do recall eye-rolling. She broke up with me shortly thereafter. My wife fully knows this story, and she'll often make the woo sound at me and grab my pecs and laugh when I'm making my moves on her. On a first date with a girl, we decided to just drive around after dinner. We had a great time exploring and found this creepy road back in the woods that was closed, and I decided I wanted to be a rebel and go around the barriers. But she got a little freaked out and objected. That's when I realized from her perspective, some guy had picked her up and took her back in the woods in the middle of nowhere on the first date. Unintended, creepy as hell, but I had a second date. When I met my first boyfriend, I really didn't have any experience at all. Old-fashioned first kiss, first BF situation. Once we got in between the sheets one day, I assumed we needed to kiss passionately, really passionately. I was a bit sick at the time. Running nose. Lights out, and I began to kiss him like a maniac, only to notice after a couple of minutes that I was tasting snot. I smeared snot all over his face. The poor soul didn't say anything about it. We went to sleep, never mentioned it. Thank God. Was dating a girl I was probably 14 or 15 at the time, and she was the same age. Her bedroom is down in the basement, and the rest of the house is upstairs. At this point, we've been dating long enough where we were regularly having sex. One particular time after we nude up, her family comes downstairs to tell us to come up for dinner. Now, when I say her family, it was legit. Her grandma, 2 aunts, mom, dad, sister, and her dog, Jack. We are both buck naked under the blankets. She's trying to say that we fell asleep, and we will be up in a second. I'm laying there with my eyes closed, and an awkward boner praying that no one grabs the blanket. They did go upstairs, and we made a vow to lock the fucking door next time. I was 16. I took a girl on a date. She seemed nervous, as I think it may have been her first date ever. We went to dinner for pizza. She ordered 2 slices. After she finished the first slice, we talked for a good 20 minutes. I thought she was done and asked her, "Hey, so are you done with that?" She looked at me funny and said, "Oh, yeah, sure." I happily said, "Okay, can I eat that so it doesn't go to waste?" And she said, "Yeah, sure." I went ahead and finished it. 10 years later, we randomly ended up living in the same city hundreds of miles from our hometown and reconnected. We went out a few times, as friends, as she had a BF. And one night she proceeded to lay into me how I stole her second pizza slice. And I was rude and didn't give her a chance to finish it. I thought I was fair in asking her, but I learned a great lesson. Never ask for your date's food, no matter what. And even though I thought I was fair, I still cringed at the thought of her harboring ill feelings for 10 years about a pizza slice. Oh man, it's time to share my biggest regret ever. I was going out with this amazing girl. She is well-endowed, slim figure, nerdy, the whole package. I always had feelings for her back in junior high, but I started to go out with her during university. One day we were watching a movie in her house. Battle Royale, nice. And she had bought a bag of gummy worms. The movie was at the middle part, and she decided to put a gummy worm on her mouth for me to bite it and potentially kiss her in the process. I went for the worm. I was so fucking nervous that I didn't go for the kiss. Idiot. After that worm, I should have done the same, but my nerves betrayed me. I never had the balls to tell her that I really liked her. It's something that has been plaguing my mind for the last 6 years, on how I blew it with an incredible girl and my longtime crush. Edit, verbs in past tense that shouldn't be in past tense. It was getting close to prom, and I didn't have a date, so I asked this girl out that I wouldn't have asked otherwise. 3 days to prom, and the girl I really wanted to ask out broke up with her boyfriend. I thought, golden opportunity right here. Obviously wasn't. I asked her to prom, she said yes, and then I made up a story to my first date about how I forgot I would be out of town during prom weekend. She was upset, but believed it. Ended up having a really crappy time at prom. Basically, the worst date of my life. But it doesn't end there. Obviously, we took pictures at prom, and stupid me decided to put them on Facebook, where Girl-1 could see them. She saw them. Long story short, neither of those girls ever want to talk to me again. Looking back, I laugh about how stupid I was, but that was probably the douchiest moment of my life. Before we left for our date, I promised her dad we'd be back by a definite time. He was focused on it. But we got distracted, and arrived back to her parents' house a little late. Her father was standing there, staring. At which point, he broke the stony silence by saying, "I was late coming back on my first date too." The smile on his face told both of us that he understood. Accidentally gave my then-girlfriend a hickey. Her family found out and made fun of her. When I went over to their place, they made fun of me as her father just glared at me. Needless to say, it was awkward as fuck. Primary mistake. Assuming that no girl could possibly be interested in me, and fleeing in terror from any that showed signs they might be. Be sure to watch other cool stories on the channel. You should definitely like them. Also, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. See you, bye.